Ladies and gentlemen, on the occasion of the Board of Management being here today, they have a very nice touch of finding the dates visiting the CRE. 2 years ago you were nominated, Jan. Today we had a somewhat negative influence on the stock market, but the President had 3 hours to visit with the Board of Management and many others the research exhibition, and he has a little present for us.
Yeah, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, let me first of all state that there is no connection between the stock price development of today and the reason of me being here. Frank Karuba and I traveled to Boston to receive a very, very special award of the very prestigious IEEE Institute. They don't give these awards lightly. I have a feeling that their screening process is very, very thorough. Frank and I felt a bit embarrassed because neither of us had anything to do. We felt we didn't deserve anything. But let me tell you, they were nice to us nevertheless. It was a very nice evening, which I almost spoiled by not packing my dinner suit with me. And I found it a brilliant example of our improvisation skills at one telephone call by Frank Karuba to Steve Tuminello, who was about to come to my place, and said, "Bring your dinner jacket with me, with you, because you're about the same size." And with some great difficulty, I must tell you, particularly the shirt, I had to do some voice rehearsals because my throat was partly closed, you see. I walked into that room, and also with my belly, right, you know, that's kind of standing like this. But I didn't show too much of it, Frank, did I? I've seen the picture now. It looks great. It's a pity I gave it back. Anyhow, it was a very memorable event. And I bring this reward to the only place, of course, where it belongs, and that is here. There's this very nice recognition here, and the reward is in here. Show that to you, and I think that should get a place somewhere in the research. Why were we so proud? Well, because it's quite unusual to get a distinction like that. And we saw it as a recognition of the great things not only the particular group in optical technology, but the whole research lab has done. Because, you know, there are only few companies in the world of electronics, or consumer electronics, where this maybe more directly relates to, with the capabilities to make changes that are lasting and important. 2 of them, I think, are in Japan. And the other company that has the ability to make fundamental changes in the direction things go is Philips. And this was a very important proof of that. It makes us feel good. And although we all have gone through difficult times, and particularly today is also not an easy day for us, we should not lose sight of the fact that, as we could establish in Boston, there is a great deal of respect for Philips outside our company in the scientific world. Respect, I think, that is well deserved. And we are trying very hard to regain our balance, as it were, and to make sure that we can continue to belong to the most creative electronic companies in the world. That gives great satisfaction to the whole of Philips, but I'm sure particularly to you who are working in this particular field. I was very impressed today when I saw the exhibition. I think it shows the enormous variety of skills, ideas, creativity we have. I was also impressed with the relevance of a lot of these subjects, relevance, I would say, in terms of marketplace. I also feel, when I look at the way things are presented, that there is a greater sense of direction and purpose and clarity. But I must admit that could also be because I am now forced to listen more attentively than in the past. But let this award be a sign to us, an indication to us how good we still are. And let us take this as an encouragement to create other great things, although one of this magnitude doesn't happen that often, Pete. But I'm convinced that there are people in this room of a younger generation who would like to take this as a challenge and say, we will work on something that will get as much recognition in the world as this particular award. I also like to make mention of our tremendous appreciation for what the team in Briarcliff, I think with some help from Paris, if I'm not mistaken, have done in digital television over the last couple of weeks. It showed that in a seemingly rather hopeless position, it was proven again that if we pull ourselves together, if we develop the right sense of direction and purpose, we can still do the impossible. And I congratulate you, Pete, and through you, the whole team, because this was truly another event to be very, very proud of. I would like to end by saying that if we manage to mobilize resources, like we in this particular example, like in the example of this award, we don't have to be afraid of the future. And then I think that this day of today, where our share price got this very big knock, will also be forgotten, and we will only be determined to make it rise a little bit above what it was yesterday. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jan, for your trust in the future. Being here and having Frank Karuba also in the room, and he hasn't spoken to a research audience with this variety, I would give you the opportunity to add a few words to this. Frank?
Thank you, Chris. Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to add my special thanks and congratulations to all of you, following that of our president, Jan Timmer. I feel that I also was a bit uncomfortable in Boston when the award was given out. Being a relative newcomer to the Philips family, I felt even less accepting of this award than Jan did. I know that the honor is really all of you in this room, all of the people who worked on the wonderful technology that was being singled out. And I really felt a great sense of pride to be a part of that ceremony and to share in the honor that all of you have allowed the Philips company to achieve. So it was a bit of mixed emotion on my part. Jan looked like a new man when he came up on the stage. Everybody said Jan Timmer doesn't look very worn, considering what Philips has gone through. But we really enjoyed it very much, and I think of the IEEE as the mother of all societies. It is just a fantastically good organization, has hundreds of thousands of members. I've been a member of the IEEE ever since I was at university. I was the secretary of the chapter at the university. I participated in many of the student body meetings of the IEEE, and I went on to have several offices in the organization during the early part of my career. The event of the IEEE that has always stayed in my mind was the first speech that I ever witnessed at the new headquarters in New York City when it was first opened. And that speech was given by T.J. Watson Sr., the founder of the IBM company. And it was a marvelous speech because he talked about all of the things that he saw coming in the future in electronics and how the electromechanical age was phasing out and how the new technology was coming in. And he closed that speech with a very wonderful statement to all of the people in the room. And I've been waiting for years and years and years to use this statement. And I finally have come to Philips, and this wonderful occasion has come along, and I said, now I could use this statement. But then I thought a minute, and I said, well, it might not be appropriate considering Einar Kloster was a very active part of the Philips company, and the lighting division is where Philips got its start. And I'll just tell you what the statement was, and I'll let you draw your own judgment why I've decided not to use this statement today. At the end of this marvelous speech, T.J. Watson stood up in front of everyone and walked away from the podium and looked at every engineer in the room and every scientist, and he said, never let the lights in the street get so bright that you neglect to see the stars. Which is a very beautiful statement to make to any research community, because we should never let the lights in the street get so bright that we neglect to see the stars. But in Philips, we have to be very careful how we use this statement. Thank you very much.
I won't make it too long, but Jan, I accept the award, and we will give them. I thought it was so beautiful that you would keep it, but I will find a place in this humble research laboratory where we can display this honor. Talking about stars, I think in an occasion of this we should remember the early days, because it was on the basic technology of the early days. And there were a few people stood out, and you had two kinds of people, the leaders and the inventors. And I start with the inventors, but I think that without inventors you don't need any leaders. The three names mentioned all the time, if you have to remember the early initial invention, that is Klaas Compaan, that is Piet Kramer, and that is Gijs Bouwhuis. Two of them are here, and I think they should have a very big applause for the insight and being a star at that time, even with the bright lights on in the streets. In this research, I was not involved in the very early days, but later I could have been a little bit more comfortable in Boston, but I had a very good game of golf on Sunday afternoon, which was a good way of spending my, gentlemen, I now play golf. The leaders in this laboratory who really protected and guided this project to where it came were Hayo Meyer, who's not here today because he was in England getting an education to build even better violins, and Eddie de Haan, who is here. Those two, and later Piet. Those two or three have really shown vision and took all the hurdles necessary to bring this project to an end, or to the future anyway. So I think they also deserve credit for that, but they were paid for it, I'm told. We talk a lot about transfer. To recall the early days, we had an idea. The PD showed very early interest. We built a development in the research group, separated in the research, and had a development group in another building at the research premises, and slowly moved to their home base. And the video disc went to audio. What I remember from why we succeeded is team spirit and passion. There is still a comradeship of the early group and the later groups. There was a determination to be first. We never argued. We had a lot of rows and we made a lot of mistakes. Organizationally, it was a mess. We complained because group leaders didn't work. Directors had to then step in. We did a lot of things, but one thing we had in common: we wanted to be first. We wanted to win, and there was a big team spirit, which I still enjoy after all those years. And I think I speak for the group, some of them see here, that was really the motivation to get the things done. Thank you very much for coming. It's a big honor for this laboratory to get it, but I think we deserved it. I offer you a drink, but it's outside the room, so thank you very much, Jan and Frank, for collecting this for us and bringing it to this proper place. Thank you very much.